everybody. I am Dr. Debbie Pates, and welcome to Wellness Wednesday Virtual Yoga at GOCA. I am a psychologist at the Wellness Center at UCCS, and for a number of years we've been doing yoga as a joint offering with the Gallery of Contemporary Arts on campus, and we're continuing that virtually. Today is January 20th, 2021, which is Inauguration Day. So we have a new president as we speak. It's a new year and we have a new president, and that's a new beginning for all of us. And I think, well, I don't want to get into politics, but what I think is very clear, regardless of, I don't want to say sides, but that our country is very divided and our country is in need of healing. And I am hoping that now the healing can begin. And in a lot of ways, healing needs to begin with ourselves, because we need to, if I'm always saying, I'm right and you're wrong, and I may not agree with you, and there may be certain are kind of straightforward, like racism is not right. Nazis, they were wrong. They're on the wrong side of history. But if we simply say you're wrong without listening to why do you believe the way you do? What are your fears? What are you afraid of? Why are you so adamant about what it is that you believe? Let me understand that, and to be really open to hearing that, similar to the same way we need to be open to hearing, how am I, where are my biases? Not do I have any, because we do, but where are my biases and how can I become more aware of them? How am I perpetuating systemic racism, and what are things that I can do about it? And that takes a lot of humility, a lot of bravery, and a lot of honesty with ourselves. And a beautiful place to begin working on that is on the mat. So if you aren't already in child's pose, come on into child's pose and rest your head. Rest your head, rest your brain. Here we go again, our next 4-year ride. Let's see how this one turns out, right? And how can we bring our best selves too? For me, there's a lot of excitement to this election because there's a woman in the White House. That's exciting. And a woman of color. That's exciting. And there's also her husband is Jewish, like me. And this is the first time that a Jew has been this close to the power in our country. And so there's a lot of shifts, a lot of underpowered people, people who have historically not held these positions, being in other positions. And as we are aware, and this is where the open your heart comes in, there's a lot of people. We had a pretty big event last week in the Capitol, if you're not aware of it. A lot of people are really afraid of these changes that some of us are celebrating. And rather than saying, well, they're stupid, that's where I'm suggesting open your heart. What are you so afraid of? Me? You're so afraid of me? Huh, that's interesting, you are. And so we breathe. Breathe right now. Breathe in child's pose. Deep, deep inhales. Deep exhales. Letting each inhalation bring new beginning, new possibility. And letting every exhalation be a completion of the past. Every exhalation being a completion of the past. Every breath a chance to begin again. You're in child's pose. Children don't come into the world with assumptions, with preconceived notions. We talk in yoga about adopting mind, as if you've never done this before. We're not children. We have preconceived notions. We have biases. We have opinions. And we're entitled to have all of those things, or I don't know if we're entitled, it's our human nature to have all of those things. But how do we say, I may not always be right too, and I would like to cultivate humility and openness. And through your yoga practice, we begin create some of that strength, some of that flexibility that's needed for that true open. Tuck your toes, lift your hips, come on into downward facing dog. And pedal out your dog, letting one heel sink as you bend the opposite knee, and then reversing that. Going quickly, going slowly, going at the pace that feels right to you. And then when you're done shifting around a little bit, find stillness. Find stillness in your dog. So cultivating with our yoga practice, being able to be present in difficult moments. Be still. Be still and quiet and receptive. So we start, right, with this receptivity to what our bodies have to offer us right now. So do a little scan here in downward facing dog. Hands on the mat, flat, pushing in, maybe fingers spread wide. Maybe check out where your forearms, you can roll them in a little bit, and then maybe you roll your biceps up to the sky. Check in with your head. Check in with your neck. Can your neck be long, not in a position of tension, but just in a position that feels natural. Head coming out of your neck, head coming out of your neck part of your back. And speaking of your back, is your back long? Can you maybe bend your knees if you need to and push firmly into your hands and send your hips up to the sky, getting long in your back. And then maybe you let your heels sink back down to the ground. You bend your knees. Just dropping your knees anytime you need to. Listening to your body. Hearing my voice, but listening to what your body has to say. Cultivating self-compassion. Everything starts at home. Change begins at home. Down dog, kind of a home base in our yoga practice. Baby steps. Walk to the top of your mat and hang in ragdoll. Another opportunity to take wrinkles out of the back of your neck, to just let your head be heavy. Check in if you haven't been already here with the back side of your body. Some people feel tension in this position, so you can bend your knees, you could straighten your knees. Play around with what makes this tolerable, right? This is not a very complicated or fancy looking position, but it can be challenging. And it's certainly important. I'm sitting here looking at my toes. I like to be able to cut my toenails and tie my shoes and bend down to pick up the things that I dropped. So appreciating everything for its simplicity, everything in its simplicity. All strands of the web are interconnected, and roll up to standing here. And now roll up slowly, and we'll begin to flow soon. Rolling up, get your head up. Let your head be last, is what I actually meant to say. And then roll your shoulders up and back and down a few times. Wiggling it out, maybe wiggling any other part of your body that feels good. Just shaking it out. And then inhale your arms up and bring your hands together overhead and pull your hands into your heart like a prayer and pause. Place your thumbs on your chest, on your sternum, and maybe look down at your fingertips or close your eyes or soft gaze. We are entering a new era. I don't know if it will be good or bad. I don't know if it will be better or worse, but I can set my own intentions for what I want this to look like. And I can try to be open and receptive and humble. And if you want to create some space for your own intention here, hopes or dreams that you might have as we begin this new cycle in our country, in our world. Namaste means I bow to you. The best place in me sees and honors the best place in you. And hopefully your intention was a benign one, a hopeful one. And so I would say to that, namaste. I bow to your intention. Now let's do some yoga. Inhale your arms up. Side bend. So either grab your left wrist with your right hand and pull it over, or maybe you want to drop your right hand down by your right side. You decide which one feels better. You can also interlace your fingers, except for your index fingers, and steeple them. That's a Bikram yoga, kind of half moon move, and then come on up. And if you're grabbing wrists, switch sides, grab your right wrist with your left hand, or drop your left hand by your side, whichever one you like. Bend over to your left side. Try to open your heart, thinking about opening your mind, opening your body, opening your heart. Come on up, and let's do our first official heart opener, a back bend. Squeeze your shoulder blades, elbows down by your sides, opening your heart. So we're looking at upper back here, trying for middle back. It's hard to move the middle back. Arms up, hands together again, and through heart center, bow forward. Forward fold, halfway lift, lengthen, flat back, which includes your neck, and then forward fold. Put your hands down on the mat and step back, high plank. And then just lift your hips from high plank, come to downward facing dog. Don't worry, you'll get your chaturangas in. In fact, you're going to get it right now. You can always drop your knees here. So rock forward, high plank. Drop your knees if you would like, and if you don't want to drop your knees, be in high plank, and then lower, chaturanga. Hold chaturanga, inhale, exhale, push up, high plank, lift your hips, downward facing dog. Rock forward, knees up or down, chaturanga, high plank, downward facing dog. And one more time. Rock forward, chaturanga, high plank, chaturanga, all the way down, lay on the floor, untuck your toes, keep your arms where they are, cobra, roll your shoulders, up, back, and down, hug your elbows in by the sides of your body, up, lift, cobra, chest comes off the ground, active back body, and then come back down. Up in cobra again. And then back down. And then one more time, cobra, or you can come to upward facing dog. So again, the difference between cobra and up dog. Cobra, most of your body is on the ground. Your legs are all on the ground. Your upper body is on the ground. It depends whether you're putting weight in your hands or not as to how up your upper body is. But in cobra, up dog, only hands and tops of feet are on the ground. And then from wherever you are, come to downward facing dog. Nice. Look in between your hands. Come to the top of your space. Halfway lift. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Take that length down and then sweep your arms up and overhead. Rise. Bring your hands together to your heart. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift, lengthen. Fold, high plank. Chaturanga, only one this time. Upward facing dog or cobra. Pull your shoulders back and your heart through. And then lift, downward facing dog. Let's keep moving, build some heat. Top of your mat, make your way there, half lift. Fold, rise up, sweep your arms up, overhead, put your palms together, feel the energy in between your own hands and bring those hands into your heart. Feel the energy of your heart. Arms up. Can we be led by our hearts? Dive forward, maybe even metaphorically being led by your heart here. Halfway lift, lengthen, but we got to put some head into it, huh? Fold, high plank. Make your way to chaturanga. Make your way upward facing dog or cobra. And then downward facing dog. Look to the top of your mat and make your way there. Half lift. Fold. Rise, arms up overhead. Bring your hands together and bring your hands into your heart, creating heat. Arms up. Bow forward. Halfway lift is an inhale. Forward fold. Put your hands down and step back to high plank. Lower chaturanga. Inhale. Upward facing dog and downward facing dog. In chemistry, right, we create these heat. We create heat to create reactions. Now, if you're a chemist and that's actually incorrect, just sort of go with it, okay? Because I might have made that up a little bit, but I just know that things are always like blown up in chemistry class. See, I'm not very into chemistry class, but that's what I remember, the excitement. But basically, here's what I'm getting at is we need to create heat. We need to create malleability to create change. We heat up metal in order to change its shape. And so sometimes we need to put ourselves into the fire. We need to allow ourselves to heat up, to be uncomfortable, to grow. Be uncomfortable in order to grow. And we start with our yoga practice. We start with letting the shake in our arms happen. We start with, I am uncomfortable, but I don't need to be reactive here. I can be uncomfortable and be calm. Look in between your hands and make your way to the top of your space. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Sweep your arms up. Bring them overhead. Bring your hands together and bring that prayer back into your heart. Inhale your arms up. And sink into chair, Utkatasana. Have your feet either together or parallel to, have your feet either together or about hips width. And whichever you choose, either if your feet are together, then also your knees are together. If your feet are parallel, well, I keep saying that. If your feet are hip width, you want your knees also to be hip width. So you don't want to knock your knees in. As best as you can, right? Sink into position that we can put ourselves in this really and challenge ourselves. Challenge yourself to be calm, even though this is hard. There's a lot of things in life that are hard. And we have to teach ourselves, I can do this. I can be in a difficult moment and I can stay calm. And what is difficulty, right? What if we just categorize something as sensation? So what you're feeling in your arms, what you're feeling in your thighs, or wherever you're feeling this shape that we're putting our bodies in, it's just a sensation. It doesn't need to be, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Right? That's our kind of our go-to a lot, or the eye roll, I can't believe that person said that, whatever. But what if it's just, isn't that interesting? Neutral, yeah? Forward fold. Halfway lift, lengthen, forward fold, and step your left foot back into a low lunge. And then drop your left knee, untuck your left toes, and come on up to crescent moon. Opening up through the left hip flexor, bending into your right knee. Your arms can be up, your arms can be on your thigh. If your arms are on your thigh, if your hands are on your thigh, you can even kind of grab onto your thigh, the bone. You want to move your right hip crease back, but allow your right knee to move forward and even kind of coax your bone a little bit forward. Breathing here, letting this feel good. If you want to add to the challenge, if you want to lift your back knee, that's an option right here. You don't need to add to the challenge. That's just another option. You guys, life is hard enough without adding challenge in your yoga practice. If your back knee is up, drop it, and let's come into Ardha Hanumanasana, half splits. So send your hips back, straighten your right leg to the best of your ability, or to whatever feels right to you. Try to elongate your back. So you're still, again, pulling your right hip crease back, and walk your hands toward your right foot. Flex your right foot. Again, all of these things are only suggestions. And what's a definite is breathe, especially if this is challenging to you. Come on. And let's come into runner's lunge. Bring your hands to the inside of your right foot and toe heel your right foot up to the top of your mat, toward the top of your mat, creating more space for your upper body to sink down here. So if you have it in your body's ability to put your whole body down, you guys know where to go here. You can always put your hands on a block. Breathe. So we came into this shape a little bit earlier than we normally do in our practice, so be patient with yourself. Be kind. Notice how we did some nice warm-ups there, a couple of fast-moving sun A's, but then we slowed it down, right? So just noticing how the rhythm of this practice is impacting you, and trying to step out of judgment, noticing. Come on up. We'll do more hip openers later. Tuck your back toes, lift your back knee, and bring your right foot to meet your left. You're in high plank, lower chaturanga, up, forward facing dog or cobra. Lift your hips, downward facing dog. Breathing in, breathing out, coming back to home base. And as we all know, home doesn't always mean peace and calm either, but it can a lot. Can often mean that. But home is also familiar. It's a place we reset, hopefully. Hopefully for most of us, our home is a safe and most of the time calm place. And we can reset. So you come back to down dog and you do a little check. Always, of course, take child's pose. And then look in between your hands and make your way to the top of your mat. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Bend your knees, Utkatasana. And then forward fold again. Halfway lift. Forward fold. Step your right foot back to a low lunge. Drop your right knee. Untuck your right toes. And crescent moon. Arms can be up, but again, wherever you are, kind of pull This time your left hip crease back. Pull your left hip crease back as you sink into your left knee. And maybe you even pull that hip crease back, push the bone away. So you're creating traction. Notice tension in your shoulders, perhaps. Breathing here. And then if you wanted to, maybe you already have, lift, untuck your toes, lift your back knee if you want. So you might try it, and if you're starting in with, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, then please back out. But maybe you try this lifting the back knee thing and say, ooh, there's a challenge for me to breathe into, and try to not panic. Back knee down, Manasana. Right, it doesn't make sense to fight something you're choosing to do. I'd way rather you say, this shape doesn't work for my body, than grit your teeth and go into the cycle, right? That is actually the opposite of what you're doing yoga for. At least presumably. You're not doing yoga for attention. Come forward and make your way into runner's lunge. Bring your hands to the inside of your left foot. Toe heel your left foot up. And sink down. The side is different than the other side. That's why it feels different, because it is different. So here's a wonderful place in our practice to begin practicing non-judgment. This side is this way, the other side is that way. Okay. And notice whether that's challenging, whether there's more story for you that comes up around it, right? We are very invested in our stories. That's a big reason why we're in the place in our history that we are today, right? Because people are so invested in their stories that we have a hard time stepping out of that into alternate understandings. Come on up. Tuck your back toes, lift your back knee, send your left foot back to meet your right, high plank, low plank, upward facing dog or cobra, lift your hips, downward facing dog. Let's shift the energy, take it a little higher for another sun B round or two. Look in between your hands and make your way to the top of your space. Halfway lift, lengthen. Exhale, forward fold, bend your knees, Utkatasana. Rise to chair, and then stand up. Bring your palms together. Return to your prayer. Arms up. Chair. Fold. Lengthen your back, halfway lift. Fold and step back to high plank. Lower chaturanga. Up dog. Downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward, spin your back foot flat. Rise up, warrior one. Back heel in the earth. Front heel, front toes in the earth. Sending your left hip point forward. And then keep your right knee tracking out. Open warrior two. Left hip point to the back. Right, so I said before, warrior one is a closed hip position. Warrior two, an open hip position. Forward, take extended side angle. Bring your right arm down and your left arm up. Maybe use the leverage of your bottom hand to roll your ribs open, rolling your right ribs under, your left ribs open, perhaps looking straight up at your thumb, and then following that left thumb back and down, reverse your warrior. Right arm comes up. And notice whether you lifted out of your right knee a little bit, and if you did, okay, maybe recommit to that bend, moving your right knee forward as your right hand comes back, and then windmill down, high plank, downward facing dog. If you go through the vinyasa or not, get to down dog, and then step your left foot forward, spin, right foot flat, rise up, warrior one, pushing into your back foot to get your right hip point forward there, sinking into your left knee, and then finding buoyancy, finding grounding in your lower body, and buoyancy in your upper body, lifting. And then notice your right hip point is pointing forward right now, your left knee tracking out towards your pinky toe. Keep that left knee tracking out and open up warrior two. Your right hip point also opens here. Really trying to access that feeling of opening in your pelvis, opening in your sacrum, reach forward, extended side angle. And now opening in your heart. So it's not a back bend per se, but this shape where you can use your bottom arm to allow your top arm to open and your heart to open toward the sky, open to possibility. Look up at your right thumb and follow it back as you make your way into reverse warrior. Recommitting to the bend in your left knee perhaps. Recommitting to being open, to being calm, to being present in the moment. Chaturanga, windmill down. Upward facing dog. Two. Downward facing dog. If I am spending my time thinking of what I'm going to say next, I'm not listening to what somebody's saying to me. We practice being present, and we practice being open, even when what we're hearing can be challenging. Look in between your hands and make your way to the top of your space. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, forward fold, bend your knees, chair. Stand up. Bring your hands together. And we always return back to that intention. Intention to be present. Intention to be open. Arms up, lift. Chair. Fold. Halfway up. High plank. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog to downward facing. Step your right foot forward, spin your back foot flat, warrior one again. Open up your heart, so clasp your hands behind your back. Squeeze your shoulder blades and your palms together. Squeeze your shoulder blades toward each other and your palms toward each other, not, you know what I'm talking about. Lift your heart, open your heart. Let's find humility. Let's practice in this humble warrior. Right shoulder inside your right knee. Letting your head and your neck be soft. Humility. I don't know everything. I don't know everything. Rise back up. Warrior one. Open. Warrior two. And this time straighten your right knee. We're going to start with reverse triangle. So drop your left hand down by your side. Lift your right arm up. So both knees are straight. Right toes pointing forward. And then reverse. So I decided I wanted to throw this shape in today because I don't like it. Feels weird. I'm not sure what to get out of it. It's taught a lot. What do we do when we're in a shape? What do we do when we're uncomfortable? Not warrior two, prepping for triangle, and then move into regular triangle. So reach forward and then tilt. It's important to be aware of, well, let's start with this position. It's important to be aware of not injuring yourself. It's important to stay safe, but maybe push down a little bit. Come on back up. Warrior two, reverse warrior, and windmill down. High plank, chaturanga, upward facing dog, two, downward facing dog. Step your left foot forward, spin your right foot flat. Rise up, warrior one. Find warrior one, commit to warrior one, and then drop your hands behind your back. Do the opposite clasp of your hands if you can remember what you did. Squeeze your palms together, squeeze your shoulder blades together. Lift your heart, open your heart. Lift, open, and then bow. Nobody knows everything. But can we really have the humility to listen? It's a challenge. I'm challenging myself. Can I really listen? Can I really hear? Can I sit with the discomfort that really listening sometimes creates in me for any number of different reasons? And then we rise back up. We rise back up. Open up, warrior one, warrior two. Straighten your left knee and come on into that reverse triangle. So you lift your left, you kind of shift your hips over to the left a little bit, allowing it to be awkward, allowing it to feel different and weird, because that's what things we're unaccustomed to generally feel like. Maybe a little bit of excitement. Come on back, prep for triangle, reach forward, and then tilt. New can be exciting, new can be scary, new can be challenging. We breathe, we practice on the mat, creating openness and space and breath. Come on up, warrior two, reverse warrior, and take it down. High plank, low plank, upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Maybe inhale and exhale out some open mouth sighs. Look in between your hands and make your way to the top of your space. Halfway lift, lengthen. Exhale, forward fold. Sweep your arms out. Rise up with a flat back. Bring your hands together overhead and pull that prayer back into your heart. Allow your hands to drop down by your sides. Tadasana, mountain pose. Be like a mountain. Mountain abides all storms with calmness. A mountain is not impacted at its core by the weather. A mountain is not impacted by people coming to it and they say, oh, this mountain is so beautiful, or damn it, there's snow, I can't see it. Mountain just is. How can we adopt the qualities of a mountain? That calmness, abiding, all change, but unlike a mountain, because we're not a mountain, we're a human, maybe with some curiosity. Inhale your arms up. Utkatasana, chair here, yeah, one more time, why not? And then fold, halfway lift, lengthen, high plank. One more round of sun bee type stuff, chaturanga. Up dog, downward facing dog. This time lift your right foot up and bend your knee, open your hip. Let your left heel continue to sink as you make circles if that feels nice. So sometimes we need to be uncomfortable. Come on back up. Shift forward and bring your right knee to your left elbow. Come on back up. Bring your right knee to your right elbow. Pause here. Come on back up. And bring your knee down the middle. Land your foot in low lunge. Lunge. Keep your back knee up and rise to crescent lunge. So again, pulling your right hip crease back. Trying to push your left hip forward. So you want to even out your hips in the front there. Sending your left heel back. Bring your hands to your heart. Hinge forward and twist. Bring your left elbow to the outside of your right knee. Drop your back knee if you want. And breathe. Notice how on the exhale you can deepen your twist. Maybe finding a little more length and extension on the exhales. And then rise back up again. Crescent lunge. Hinge forward and bring your arms behind you. Airplane torso. And we're going to launch into airplane. So come on up. Try to, without touching your back foot, if you were watching me, I was quite unsuccessful at that. But try to come up into airplane. And notice any challenges that you're experiencing right now and how you're responding to those challenges. Bring your hands into your heart. And begin to open your body up to the side, bringing your right hand down and your left hand up, moving into half moon. If you have a block, you might put your hand on a block underneath your shoulder, so you want your arm coming sort of straight down from your shoulder in a natural position. Not that much else about this position is natural, but at least your right arm can be just hanging down sort of naturally. Opening. And then step back, but not quite as wide as a warrior two stance. And turn your feet to face. We're going to do a twisting triangle. So bring your hands to your hips and kind of steering wheel your hips. With your right foot forward here, what's probably happening is your left hip is back a little bit. So steering wheel your hips so that they're even. Keep your right hand on your right hip crease. Lift your left arm up and come down halfway with a flat back. And then you can place your left hand down directly underneath your left shoulder, on your right shin, or on the floor or a block on the outside of your right shin, and then maybe you lift your right arm up, maybe you look up. You want to try to have your back flat. This is a challenging shape. And that's partly the point of doing it, to be in a challenging shape and breathe. Finding that calmness even in situation. And then fold, take pyramid, forward fold over your right foot, right leg. A lot of hamstrings, so if you haven't felt your hamstrings yet, probably going to be feeling them now. And then simply step your left foot up to meet your right halfway lift. Forward fold. Sweep your arms up. Rise, come to stand. And then sink into chair. And forward fold. Moving, halfway lift. Step back to high plank. Lower chaturanga, or of course all the way to the floor is always an option. Up dog or cobra. Downward facing dog. Lift your left leg up. Right heel continues to sink toward the ground. Bend your knee. Open it up. Make circles. Let it feel good. Let it feel good. Whatever shape feels nice to you here. And then come, oh yeah, wait, I forgot. Lift your left leg up and bring your left knee to your right elbow. Come on back up, three-legged dog. Shift forward. Left knee to left elbow. Pause, or even your left tricep. Pause here. And then rise back up and bring your left knee through. Plant your foot, low lunge. Keep your right heel lifted and come on to crescent. Feeling again, perhaps, something similar to what you felt in crescent moon, a shape you took that's similar to this. Maybe not. And then bring your hinge forward and twist. Right elbow to the outside of the left knee. Breathe. Maybe you look up over your left shoulder. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're looking down because that's what feels good to your neck. Maybe your back knee is up. Maybe your back knee is down. Unwind. Come back up. Crescent. And we're going to move into airplane. You and launch whenever you're ready. And your experience on this side. So just be curious. Be curious. What if we could step out of judgment and come into curiosity? How might that shift our relationship with so many things? Bring your hands to your heart and open up to half moon. Left arm comes down. Right arm comes up and open. Curiosity instead of judgment. Just think about your own reaction, your own feelings about what's been going on recently. Come on out of half moon, step back into not as wide a stance. Turn your feet to the front, hands on your hips, moving into twisting triangle. Lift your right arm up. Keep your hand on your left hip, coaxing that left hip crease back. Come down halfway. Right hand either on your right shoulder, on left, or outside of left shin, on the floor or block. Maybe you lift up left hand, twisting triangle. But think about, right, something that you've had judgment about. Maybe part of your response has been something like, oh my God, how could those people even think that? Or how could that even be a thing? And I'm not trying to make things right that are wrong or wrong that are right, but I am suggesting, first I'm going to suggest this. Pyramid, forward fold over your left leg. I am suggesting that if you had curiosity rather than judgment, your experience of that, not your opinion, your experience of that might be different. Opening opening up to curiosity, having compassion. Talk more about that. Look in between your hands here. Now bring your right foot up to meet your left. And stay in this fold, and let's do gorilla. So have your feet hip-width distance, and slide your hands palms up underneath your feet. Lengthen, get your back flat if you can, flat-ish, knees very bent, and then forward fold. Breathing into this deep back side of your body, opening. You can work your arms here. You can definitely relax your neck here. Breathe. And then release your hands from underneath your feet. And roll up to standing. Let's do a little bit of balancing. Oh my goodness. This time has super flown by, so I'm going to have to drastically change our schedule. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it. The whole hour's almost up. How did that even happen? Usually I don't have that happen to me. Okay, well, we have 8 minutes to practice, so let's come on into, I do want to do a balancing pose. Come on into standing. Shift, let's just do a tree. Shift your weight into your left foot and bring your right foot to wherever it needs to go. On your right leg, or maybe you keep it on the floor, and bring your hands into your heart. So there's a theory in psychology that says that we are all comprised of lots of different parts. Release and switch sides. And that every part of us, as destructive as it may seem, every part of us has benevolent intention for the system. It may just be trying to get its needs met in a misguided way. So perhaps you have a part of you that likes to yell at people or drink too much or, whatever. I definitely want to do some back bends. So just come on to the top of your mat. And you know what? Come on down into a high plank position. We don't have to get. And then lower all the way down onto your mat. We did a bunch of cobras to open up this practice. Bend your knees, grab onto your feet, and let's just come on into bow. Grab onto your feet and kick and lift whatever you can. And what I really want you to be focusing on here is opening your heart. And it's challenging for a lot of people to open your heart in this position. Good. Because that's what I want. I want you to notice that even though something is challenging, you can still try. You can still begin. You can still make the effort. And you breathe. And you try to stay calm. Release. Push up onto your knees. Stand up onto your knees. Camel. Go right into it. Camel pose. Take whatever version of camel works for you. Be gentle. We just did a big back bend, so you might not want to take the fullest version of this that you normally do. So compassion for others as well. We only have so much. Did I say compassion for ourselves is what I meant. We only have so much capacity. Come on up. And it wouldn't be a yoga practice without a hip opener. So, right knee forward, come on into pigeon. Right knee forward, and walk your left foot back and sink down. Parts of us that seem more self-destructive. The part that likes to drink too much sometimes because that part's making the pain go away. Or the part that yells because it wants to be heard. And sure, there are other parts of us that know that this comes at some expense. But those parts of us are just doing their best with what they've got. And what if all those people who are on the other side are doing their best? I'm not saying they're right, and I'm not saying the other side is right either. Of course, I have my own opinions. Before we move on to the other side of pigeon, sit up, swing your legs around. Let's do at least one open straddle position. So straddle your legs out here, and just without wasting any time, open-legged forward fold, seated stretch. But what if we're all just doing our best? And sometimes that's acting out of fear. Sometimes that is acting out of, well, hatred is often born of fear, isn't it? I read somewhere, I think it was in Oprah magazine actually, and just bend your left knee, swing your right leg back behind you, come into pigeon. I read, I think in the Oprah magazine, it was an article about bullying. Pigeon here, left knee forward, right leg back. And what it said is, and I always remember this, it said, if you could look in the heart of the biggest bully, you would see a crying 5-year-old. So what if, instead of fear and hatred, I'm not condoning bullying, we could approach, at least in our own minds, with curiosity and compassion. Why are you acting this way? What are you afraid of? What hurt you? And I'm not saying that curiosity and compassion mean accepting that the other person is right. But at least we can listen. For real. Come on up. Swing your right leg around in front of you. Swing both legs out in front of you. Lean forward. Put your arms out in front of you. And then roll back. Try to take it slowly. Hug your knees into your chest. So we are right at 1 o'clock right now. I apologize. It's been a long time since I completely lost track of time like this. If you can stay for another minute here. Hug your knees in. Spinal twist to one side. Come on, center, spinal twist to the other side. And Shavasana. Lay on your back. I meant to leave 5 minutes for Shavasana today, and I did not do that, so I apologize. That is an intention I have for this new year in our practice together. Life is hard, but then again, where did we think we were getting a guarantee that it was going to be? Thank you so much for practicing with me. I really believe in cultivating gratitude. I really believe in practicing yoga. And I'm so grateful that I get to share it with you. I'm so grateful for the time that you trust to me. I love it when you guys leave comments. If you haven't filled out the survey, I will put that up. I hope that this new season, new year, new cycle of our presidency, number 46, now. We have a woman vice president. Wow, yay! And let's be open to hearing everybody. Let's be open to doing what it takes to heal ourselves and our country. There's a lot of work we have to do, and it starts here. Thank you for using this practice as some of the fire to help cleanse that. Same time next week.